Is your team as good as your strongest player or as good as your weakest player? Welcome to Thank God It's a Story Saturday weekly video series where I share stories with you that you can use to make your messages connect. Today's story is a story I heard on a YouTube video by Brain Bar in which Malcolm Gladwell talks about the kind of working environment we live and work in. So I'm going to show you a very short clip and then I'll explain to you the point of the story. Let's have a look.
Driving to me a case of a man had come in after being in a dreadful traffic accident. He had nearly died. In fact, he would have died under normal circumstances, but it so happens that they would manage to get a helicopter to the crash site very quickly, bring the man to one of the great trauma centers in the region. A team of world-class surgeons descended on this man, did a series of operations over the course of the next 24 hours, saved his life. Man leaves the hospital, is brought back to health, gets married, has children, and one day he's walking along the beach and he collapses. And he's dreadfully sick. He's taken back to the hospital. They realize he has a raging sepsis infection. They end up having to amputate one of his legs. He nearly dies. His life is derailed for months and months. Why did he get the sepsis infection? Because one of the things that happened to him when he was being operated on was that his spleen was taken out. And when you take out someone's spleen, you have to give them a vaccination against a very common type of bacteria that your spleen will normally protect yourself against. Somebody forgot to give him the vaccination. So here's a man being operated on for 24 hours by a team of world-class surgeons at a price tag of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Someone forgets to give him a $2 infection. And what happens? He nearly dies again. All of that work nearly comes to naught. What do those two examples tell us? They tell us that as systems get more complicated, as domains of activity, professional activity, get more interconnected, things start to resemble football and not basketball.
Now, the most interesting thing about the story is that he says, are you playing a football or are you playing a basketball? Essentially, what he's really trying to say there is that a basketball game is a game where you're only as good as your strongest player. I mean, the playing area is small and one good player can actually make you win the game. Contrary to that, is the football game where the field is really big, and if the weakest player is not able to do a pass really well, you will not be able to hit a goal. So you're only as good as your weakest player because everybody's coordination is required to get the final outcome. But that's not the case in basketball. Why does this matter to you? This matters to you is when you build your teams. You have to really see, you've not got to just focus on your best player. If you think your team is like a football, you are only as good as your weakest player. So try and build them up. But if you are playing a basketball game, which is what we play in my company, where only one good person or two good people can actually make you win the game, then you can stay focused on those. So think, if you're running a project, running a team, managing a new change initiative, is it a basketball? Is it a football? And then work according to that. Stay storied.